Welcome to the deep dive. You know how this works. You send us those complex documents, the plans, the reports.
And we dig in. We pull out the really important stuff, the key takeaways for you.
Right, so you get the core understanding without having to wade through, well, hundreds of pages sometimes.
Exactly. We do the waiting.
And today we're looking at Prince William County, Virginia. We've got a PDF here called Innovation Park Small Area Plan PDF.pdf. Now, that title might sound a bit dry, maybe, but this plan, adopted back in December 2020, it's actually a really fascinating window into how a community is mapping out its future growth.
It really is. We're diving into their vision for this innovation park area, looking at how they plan to build on what was there before, aiming for sustainability, economic strength.
And it's all centered around George Mason University's Science and Technology campus, right? The SciTech campus.
That's the anchor. But importantly, they're also focusing on preserving the natural environment alongside all this development.
Okay, let's get into it then, because, it's not just zoning maps. This thing touches on the history of the place, transportation, what kinds of jobs they want, even how the public spaces should look and feel.
It's pretty comprehensive. History, development, mobility, environment, design. It's all in there.
So first things first, where exactly is this innovation park?
Okay, so it's in Prince William County, about 30 miles southwest of D.C., pretty close to the city of Manassas.
Right.
If you're looking at a map, it's kind of bordered by Sudley Manor Road, Godwin and Nokesville Roads, the Norfolk Southern Railway line, and then Broad Run and Hornbaker Road.
Got it. So why a whole new plan? Was there something there before?
There was, yeah. An older plan called Innovation at Prince William Science and Technology Sector Plan.
Okay.
But things change, right?
Mm-hmm.
The regional market shifted, there were new state laws affecting development, and, well, it sounds like they just wanted a fresh vision, really aiming to rebrand the area, make it genuinely sustainable and economically, viable.
Sustainable keeps coming up. What's the sort of core idea behind this new vision?
The main goal is to create a really top-tier science and technology hub. Academic stuff, business activity, all clustered around the GMU SciTech campus.
But not just labs and offices.
No, definitely not. A big part of it is envisioning a mixed-use town center right in the middle of it all. Somewhere that creates economic opportunities, but also does it carefully, respecting the natural resources that are already there.
And the plan mentions 3 specific districts. How do they differ?
Yeah, that's right. You've got the University Center that was pretty clear, focused on GMU and related things. Then there's a technology center, probably more for the R&D businesses. And an employment center, which sounds like maybe a broader mix of commercial stuff. Each one's planned with different uses, different densities, but they're all meant to work together to create this overall hub.
Okay, so that's the future they're planning. But what about the past? Does the plan dig into the history of this land?
Oh, absolutely. And it's quite interesting. They go way back to the pre-contact period. Found evidence along broad run of hunter-gatherers from the archaic period. We're talking thousands of years ago.
Wow. Like what kind of evidence?
Things like short-term camps, sites where they made tools. Unfortunately, a lot of that's been damaged by later farming, especially the sod farming in the 20th century. And it's likely that woodland period people passed through as well. Of course, by the 1700s, the Native American groups were largely pushed out by treaties and, frankly, by force.
A difficult part of the history. What about closer to our time, the historic period?
So, roughly 1650 to 1750. Prince William County itself was formed in 1730. And archaeologically, they found evidence near Hornbaker Road of what looks like an 18th century domestic quarter.
Domestic quarter?
Yeah, likely occupied by enslaved African Americans. The artifacts found suggest people with fewer resources, maybe field hands, or people enslaved by tenant farmers in the area. It's a significant find.
Definitely sheds light on a less often documented part of the past. And then, inevitably, the Civil War came through.
It did. Parts of this Innovation Park area actually fall within the boundaries of 2 big battlefields, Second Manassas and Bristow Station.
Really? Was there major fighting right there?
Not the main engagements, no, but troop movements were key. Roads like Wellington and Bethlehem, which run through the area, were really important during Second Manassas for how the battle unfolded.
Okay.
And for Bristow Station, the very first shots, the opening skirmishes, actually happened in the southern part of this plan area, down near Broad Run. So yeah, this land saw action, even though it wasn't the center stage.
So after the war, what happened? Did it go back to farming?
Pretty much. It stayed agricultural for a long time. Dairy farming was big, well into the 20th century. Later, a lot of it shifted over to sod farms. It's interesting, the plan actually calls out a couple of preserved barns, the Thomason Barn, which is now Two Silos Brewery.
Oh, I think I know that place.
Yeah. And the Burkett Barn, now Sweeney Barn. They're highlighted as sort of tangible links to that dairy past. There's also the Gaskin Cemetery, another reminder of that rural history.
And water power was involved, too. You mentioned Broad Run.
Yes, absolutely. Evidence of the Milford Mill Complex right there on Broad Run. Records go back to 1781, but it was probably older than that.
Grist mill.
Exactly. Water-powered grist mill, grinding grain. It ran until the early 1900s. Shows you how important agriculture and using the local resources, like the river, was for a long, long time.
It makes the current plan's focus on protecting Broad Run feel kind of connected to that history, in a way.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
A different kind of interaction with the waterway focused now on ecology.
So yeah, from ancient camps to battlefields to farms and mills.
Yeah.
Quite a layered history under this planned innovation hub. Let's pivot back to that future vision. What's the big picture goal?
The main aim is really creating a regional employment powerhouse focused on advanced tech, R&D. And the heart of it is this idea of a vibrant, walkable, mixed-use town center that supports and kind of feeds off the GMU SciTech campus.
Okay. And what principles are guiding how they build this?
They talk about density, diversity, and design. Those are the watchwords. And underpinning it all is the need for an equitable transportation network, something that supports all the different uses and contributes to a good quality of life.
You mentioned place types before. Can you unpack that a bit? It sounds technical.
It is a bit, but it's a neat concept. Place types are basically categories for land use. But instead of just simple zones, they define standards for things like density, the form of the buildings, the layout.
Okay.
They use this framework called a transect, T1 through T6. T1 is basically natural areas. T6 is more like an urban core. It helps them think about the character of different zones, not just what's allowed there.
So it's about creating different kinds of environments within the park.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they also use something called activity density jobs, plus residents per acre. That helps figure out how intensely an area will be used, which is obviously key for planning roads, transit, services.
Right, makes sense. So based on that, what kinds of land uses are they planning?
Well, you get designations like town center, community mixed use, office mixed use, technology flex space, industrial employment, public land, parks and open space.
Yeah.
Standard categories, but defined by those place type characteristics.
Overlays, too.
Yeah, things like University Village and arts and entertainment, suggesting sort of special districts within the broader areas.
Can you give us a visual? What does the illustrative plan suggest this might actually look like on the ground?
Sure. Picture the town center having a pretty tight street grid, blocks maybe 200 to 600 feet long, roughly. Much more walkable than typical suburban sprawl.
Definitely.
There's a main east-west street planned to connect GMU with the Prince William Parkway, like a central spine, and a north-south street connecting towards a potential future VRE station. That's the commuter rail. You'd likely see studio housing clustered near the university, naturally, and then more office and employment uses lining the parkway. The whole layout aims for connectivity, walkability.
Walkability really seems central. How are they planning for people getting around generally? Mobility?
The goal is definitely multimodal. They want a network that connects those three districts: university, technology, employment, using walkable streets, yes, but also sidewalks, trails, bike lanes, and transit options.
What's it like now? How do people get around currently?
Well, right now, it's pretty car dependent. Route 234, University Boulevard, those are the main roads. Transit is there, but limited. There's some bike and pedestrian stuff, but it's not a complete network yet.
Right.
And the plan does make a point of mentioning the Manassas Regional Airport nearby and its economic importance.
So what's the future mobility network look like in the plan?
Connectivity is the big theme. They're proposing shared use paths, 10 feet wide along the bigger roads, sidewalks on both sides of most streets, dedicated bike lanes. There's even talk of a potential pedestrian and bicycle bridge over Prince William Parkway, which would be a big deal for connecting things. And a whole network of trails linking up to surrounding areas in the green corridors, like the Cannon Branch Trail and one called the University Village Trail.
And they're thinking about the design of the roads themselves, not just where they go.
Absolutely. They're using the county's official design and construction standards manual. It defines different street types like principal arterial, parkway, urban boulevard, through boulevard.
So a parkway would look and feel different from an arterial.
Exactly. A parkway might have more landscaping, maybe slower speeds. An arterial is built for more traffic volume. Each type gets specific design features. Sidewalks, bike lanes, landscaping match to the area it's serving.
Okay, building a connected place. But what about the green side? You mentioned preserving nature.
Yeah, that's a really strong thread in the plan. The goal isn't just isolated parks, but a connected system of greenways, trails, open spaces, and ecological corridors. Good for the environment, good for the community, good for wildlife.
What's the green infrastructure like there now?
Well, the area's in what they call Park Planning District 4. There's the Broad Run Linear Park and Greenway. But the plan notes that getting to these green spaces, especially from the proposed town center or GMU, isn't always easy right now.
So how do they plan to improve that and protect the natural areas?
A big focus is on protecting what they call resource protection areas, or RPAs.
RPAs.
Yeah, environmentally sensitive spots, floodplains, stream valleys, wetlands, really crucial stuff. The plan encourages keeping these in their natural state, but also running trails alongside or through them where appropriate.
Okay.
And improving water quality in Broad Run and Cannon Branch is a specific objective. Plus, new developments will have requirements to include open space plazas, parks designed to be pedestrian-friendly with seating, shade, lighting, publicly accessible spaces.
So weaving nature into the development, not just setting it aside.
That's the idea. Even the streetscape design contributes. They mandate setbacks from the road to create zones for pedestrians. And landscaping could be 25 feet, could be 100 feet on a big road like the Parkway.
Right.
That potential pedestrian bridge over the Parkway fits here, too. And they're planning for active recreation sports fields and such within the mixed-use areas, balancing that with passive green space. They mention the existing Freedom Aquatics Center and a proposed USTA tennis facility.
And specific tools for managing water and green space.
Yep. They list things like open space preservation rules, using bioretention facilities, basically fancy rain gardens, vegetated swales, naturalized infiltration basins, all techniques to manage stormwater runoff sustainably, which loops back to protecting Broad Run's water quality.
It really is thorough. Okay, we've covered future development, the environment. What about protecting the past? Those historical bits we talked about earlier.
Definitely not forgotten. There's a clear goal to identify, protect, and also interpret the historical, archaeological, architectural, and cultural resources.
That's been identified so far.
The inventory lists 34 recorded archaeology sites, pre-contact and historic, plus 35 architectural sites, old houses, farms, a church, the battlefields, Milford Mill, the Thomason Barn we mentioned,
Wow, quite a list.
and the Gaskin Cemetery. But the plan is also clear that more surveys are needed on land that hasn't been developed yet. There could be more out there.
So what's the policy for dealing with these finds?
Well, they plan to require Phase I archaeological surveys before development happens on undisturbed land. A big point is preserving burial sites in place, not moving them.
Okay.
They'll also consider restoring important historic buildings as landmarks and actively look for funding for more research, especially on that Milford Mill site. They even suggest using student interns for some of this work.
And it's not just about preserving, but sharing the story.
Exactly. Interpretation is key. Using history and placemaking, developing narratives about the area, installing interpretive signs or trails. They see the Broad Run Trail, for instance, as having potential as a tourist draw, partly because of the history it touches.
Okay, so this isn't just a wish list. They have ideas for actually making it happen. Implementation. How does that break down?
A lot of it ties into economic development. The goal is attracting specific industries: tech, R&D, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, ICT, government contractors.
How do they plan to attract them?
Through having the right zoning in place, ensuring there's suitable office and research space available, and again, leveraging the economic engine of the Manassas Regional Airport.
Are there specific tools or incentives mentioned?
Yes. Things like potentially creating business improvement districts, BIDES, where businesses contribute to fund local improvements, using industrial revenue bonds, or IRBs, for financing.
Okay.
Also, strategic rezoning to make areas attractive for those target industries, partnering with the private sector, tapping into state programs like Go Virginia, the Economic Development Access Program, the Transportation Partnership Opportunity Fund, using all levers they can.
And healthcare seems to be singled out.
Yeah, they see growing the healthcare sector as both an economic plus and something that improves the quality of life for everyone there.
What about big infrastructure projects, capital improvement projects, CIPs?
They highlight a few key ones: extending University Boulevard, making improvements at the intersection of Prince William Parkway and University Boulevard, specifically mentioning a quadrant intersection design,
Interesting.
and various pedestrian improvements across Innovation Park. They also note a need for more high-quality neighborhood parks as the area grows.
And it looks like they've broken down implementation steps by time frame, short term, long term?
They have. There are lists of short-term and ongoing actions for everything: design guidelines,
Yeah.
economic development, green infrastructure,
Yeah.
cultural resources, mobility.
Like what?
Developing the detailed design guidelines, putting mixed-use zoning in place, creating a special SciTech University Technology District, preserving those stream buffers, requiring the cultural resource surveys, improving transit connections to the Broad Run VRE station, building out that grid network in the University Village area. Lots of concrete steps.
And longer term.
More research on Milford Mill comes up again. Developing new commuter parking, actually building that pedestrian bike bridge over Route 234, and ultimately the potential new innovation VRE station itself. There's a whole detailed table listing projects, who's responsible, and rough timelines.
It feels very mapped out. Okay,
Yeah.
last big piece, design. How is all this actually going to look and feel?
Right. And there are extensive design guidelines for this, covering buildings, their character, form, facades, rooftops, how much glass they have, where the entries are, covers parking garages, lighting, site design, access.
Everything.
Pretty much. Landscaping, streetscape details, public spaces like plazas, the paving, trees, benches, lighting, public art, signs, even specific rules for franchise businesses so they fit in better.
What are the big themes in those guidelines? What are they trying to achieve aesthetically?
Key ideas are designing at a human scale, encouraging architectural variety so it's not all cookie cutter, making sure designs fit the context, really prioritizing pedestrians, minimizing how much you see the parking, making public spaces really high quality and usable, and weaving in those green infrastructure elements we talked about.
And the University Center got special attention.
Yes, particularly the idea of active ground floors and street wall conditions,
Whoa.
meaning they want buildings built right up close to the sidewalk, what they call build-to lines, maybe with upper floors stepped back a bit, lots of windows and active uses like shops or cafes on the ground floor facing the street. It's all about creating that vibrant, engaging street life, especially in the core area.
Okay. So pulling it all together, this Innovation Park small area plan, it really is a comprehensive roadmap, isn't it? Creating this dynamic, mixed-use place focused on innovation, sustainability, but also, importantly, respecting the history and the environment.
Exactly. It's quite an ambitious balancing act, trying to foster cutting-edge development while being really mindful of the area's deep past and its natural setting.
What stands out to me is that effort to weave the history into the place, not just cordon it off. That feels different. And also the focus on green infrastructure within what's planned to be a fairly dense active area. That's a tricky integration.
Yeah, the intentionality is impressive. It's not just zoning for growth. It's trying to shape that growth very deliberately, thinking about how buildings relate to streets, how people will move, how water will be managed, how the past is remembered. It aims to create a community, not just a collection of buildings.
Which brings up a question for you, listening right now. How could this kind of detailed, long-range planning influence other places, maybe your own community? What parts of this plan, the historical deep dive, the focus on walkability, the green systems, might be useful models elsewhere as communities grapple with growth?
It definitely highlights the power and maybe the necessity of being proactive in planning, doesn't it? Really thinking about the kind of future you want to build.
And if you are interested in digging deeper, you can find the Innovation Park Small Area Plan online. Just search that title. The full document, maps and all, is available. It's quite the read, but fascinating.
It is. And as you think about it, maybe consider this. In our fast-changing world, how do we strike that right balance? The balance between pushing forward with innovation and economic needs and the responsibility we have to preserve our unique histories and protect the natural world for the people who come after us. That's the core challenge plans like this are trying to meet.